Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really focusing in on how to learn English effectively. And yes, quickly too.
Definitely. We've got quite a mix of sources lined up.
Yeah, we have this great article from English Path, some really interesting discussions from a Reddit community about spoken fluency, insights into getting over language anxiety,
Mm.
which is huge for many people.
hmm And even a study looking at immersive video learning. It's quite comprehensive.
Absolutely. So our mission for you today really is to pull out the most powerful techniques, the best resources, so you can, make your English learning journey faster and maybe feel a bit more confident wherever you're starting from.
Exactly. Think of it as a curated guide. We've done the sifting to find the things that could really make a difference for you.
Okay, so let's dive in. A really big idea, it seems, that keeps coming up is creating an immersive environment. This English Path article, 13 Ways to Learn English Fast and Effectively, really hammers this home.
It does. It's about weaving English into your everyday life, not just setting aside study time.
Right, making it sort of
Yeah.
always there.
Yeah, and the article gives some really practical ways to do that. Things like, talking to native speakers whenever you can, maybe joining language exchange groups.
Which can be fun, too, not just educational.
Exactly. Or going to cultural events where English is spoken. It's about making it less like a school subject and more, well, just part of your life.
And crucially, it shouldn't feel like pulling teeth, right? The article makes a good point that enjoyment is key. If it's fun, you build confidence, you build fluency much more naturally.
That's so true. They even mention their physical campuses as an option for that really focused professional immersion if someone wants to go that route.
That makes sense. It kind of mirrors how we learn our first language, doesn't it? Just being surrounded by it.
Precisely. Constant exposure, different situations, your brain just starts to pick up the patterns. The more you interact, the more intuitive it becomes.
Okay, moving on from immersion. Let's talk listening skills.
Yeah.
Foundational, really. The English Path article stresses active listening.
Yeah, and that's more than just, letting the sound wash over you. It's about really understanding the meaning, the nuances.
So how do you actually do that? Go from just hearing to understanding.
Well, the article has some solid tips, like watching English movies or TV shows, maybe with subtitles at first. That helps connect spoken words to written ones, builds vocabulary too, and you pick up cultural context.
Good point. And listening to things like podcasts or the news or radio.
That exposes you to different ways people speak, the natural rhythm of English, and different accents, which is so important today.
Absolutely. The world is small. And they also mentioned practicing listening in, like noisy places or on phone calls.
Right. Training your ear for the real world, basically. It's not always going to be perfect audio quality.
And that idea of engaging actively when you listen, asking questions, maybe summarizing.
Yes. That really cements your understanding. Make sure you're not just passively hearing, but actively processing.
Okay, so active listening is key. What about reading? The article's pretty emphatic. Read, read, read.
Huh. Yeah, can't argue with that. It's framed as just a fantastic way to find new words in context, see grammar in action, pick up useful phrases. It all feeds into how you express yourself.
But not just reading anything, right? They give some pointers.
Exactly. Choosing stuff you actually find interesting is, well, critical, keeps you motivated.
Makes sense.
And maybe starting small, like articles, short stories, maybe even children's books to build confidence. And using context clues, that's a great skill. Trying to figure out a word from the sentence around it.
Like a little puzzle. I like the idea of joining a book club, too, or finding someone to read with. Discussing it helps solidify things.
Definitely. And keeping a reading journal, jotting down new words, thoughts, makes it more concrete.
Oh, and reading aloud. Even if it feels a bit weird at first, good for pronunciation, apparently, and connecting the written and spoken word in your brain.
Yeah, it engages different parts of the brain. Reading isn't passive. It's an active mental workout that really strengthens your language skills overall.
So, immersive world, check. Tuned in ears, check. Reading lots, check. What about actually producing English? Writing, the article calls it, writing your way to fluency.
And that's interesting because writing isn't just about practicing words and grammar. It forces you to organize your thoughts, to express them clearly. Super valuable skill nowadays with emails, reports, everything.
Yeah, unavoidable, really. They give some pretty down-to-earth tips, too.
Like starting simple, short sentences, paragraphs. Don't try to write a novel on day one.
Right, and doing it regularly, even just a little bit each day, building that habit.
And getting feedback. Asking people you trust to take a look. Using writing prompts if you're stuck for ideas. That can help, too.
I think the encouragement part is important too. Be patient, try to enjoy the process.
Totally. It shifts it from just a task to something more creative and meaningful.
Okay, now for the big one, for many learners speaking, the article is clear. Daily practice is the absolute key for confidence.
No way around it, really. It's about getting comfortable with the sounds, using your vocabulary actively, feeling okay talking to people, for job interviews, exams, just daily life.
And this is where those Reddit insights really add some flavor. Some great real-world tips came up there.
Yeah, like joining Discord communities based on your hobbies, video games, TV shows, whatever.
Oh, that's smart.
It's lower pressure, right?
Yeah.
Casual chat about things you actually like. Less intimidating than a formal lesson sometimes.
Definitely ties into making it fun and relevant. What else came up on Reddit? Shadowing.
Yep, shadowing. Listening to a native speaker and repeating right after them, mimicking the pronunciation, the rhythm.
I've heard that's really effective. And using tools like Anki for vocabulary.
Anki's great. That spaced repetition helps words stick. Flashcards, but smart flashcards.
The Reddit threads also talked about practicing for, more professional situations.
Right. Suggestions like reading aloud to yourself, just getting used to your own voice speaking English. Practicing in front of a mirror helps with body language, confidence.
And maybe even Toastmasters for public speaking skills more broadly.
Good suggestion for some people. Another user recommended shadowing English teachers specifically, maybe on YouTube, because their speech is often very clear.
So the takeaway seems to be practice consistently, try different methods, different settings.
Absolutely. Both the expert advice and the learner experiences point to that. The English Path article also mentions things like storytelling, trying poetry, even stand-up comedy workshops.
Wow, stand-up. That's brave.
Yeah. But fun ways to practice. And crucially, they stress. Don't fear mistakes. They are part of learning. Essential, actually.
So true. Okay, let's talk vocabulary. Building that English vocabulary bank, as the article puts it.
More words mean you can express yourself better. Simple as that. And the tips are practical.
What stands out?
It's a mix. Reading widely, obviously, and noting down new words, playing word games, crosswords, word searches, that kind of thing.
Keeps it engaging.
Yeah. Keeping a vocabulary journal. Using flashcards for testing yourself. And this is key, actively using the new words. In conversation, in writing. Don't just learn them, use them.
Oh, and labeling things around the house in English. That sounds oddly effective.
It really can be. Makes it part of your environment. It's about active, ongoing integration, not just passive memorization.
Right. Now, vocab is one thing, but structure is another. Grammar. The article calls it the foundation for effective communication.
It really is. You need that framework. They suggest starting with the basics, verb tenses, pronouns, how sentences are put together.
Makes sense. Build from the ground up.
And using online resources. English Path has courses, obviously, but there's lots out there. Even practicing tongue twisters, surprisingly, can help internalize structures.
Tongue twisters for grammar. Interesting.
Yeah, it makes you focus on the sounds and patterns. They also mention YouTube channels, educational websites, grammar checker tools. Lots of support available.
And that reference to the University of Adelaide Guide on Sentence Structure was helpful.
Breaking down the 4 types. Simple, compound complex, and compound complex.
Right. Simple is just one main idea, subject and verb.
Exactly. Master that first for clarity. Then you can combine simple sentences using words like and, but, or to make compound sentences.
Or add dependent clauses, those bits that can't stand alone to make complex sentences.
Or combine both for compound complex. The main point is choosing the structure that gets your meaning across best to your reader or listener. It's about conscious choice.
Okay, shifting gears to how you actually sound. Pronunciation. The article stresses how crucial clear pronunciation is for being understood.
Absolutely vital. You can have great grammar and vocab, but if people can't understand you.
So how do you improve it? They mentioned shadowing again.
Yes. Imitating native speakers' tone, rhythm, sounds. Also identifying your problem sounds, the ones you find tricky, and focusing practice on those.
Are there tools for that?
Definitely. Pronunciation apps, websites with audio examples, exercises, very useful. And getting feedback from willing native speakers is gold.
What about singing? Does that really help?
It can. Helps with rhythm, flow, linking words together, and paying attention to syllable stress, which part of the word is emphasized, and intonation, the melody of the language. Big factors in sounding natural.
Okay, this next one is really interesting. Start thinking in English.
Yeah.
Getting beyond constantly translating in your head.
It's a big mental shift, but so powerful. It's about developing a new way of processing.
How do you even begin to do that?
Little steps. Change your phone or computer language to English. Constant passive exposure.
Smart.
Listen to English music, podcasts, watch shows.
Yeah.
Let your brain start making direct connections between sounds and meaning. And try narrating your daily routine to yourself in simple English sentences. I am making coffee. I am reading email.
Feels a bit strange maybe, but I can see how it would help.
It does. And the key, again, is accepting mistakes. It's part of retraining your brain's default language. It takes time.
Makes sense. And of course, nowadays technology is everywhere. The article calls it your new English learning buddy.
For sure. So many resources. Language learning apps, online courses like English Paths for structured practice on grammar, vocab, pronunciation. Often they track your progress, too.
And watching videos, YouTube, Netflix, whatever. Great for listening, especially with subtitles to start.
And online communities. Places to practice with other learners, ask questions, even talking to voice assistants like Siri or Alexa in English. Low-pressure speaking practice.
Oh, yeah. Tell Siri the weather forecast in English.
Why not? Playing English learning games makes it fun, and just reading websites, blogs, constant exposure, and new words.
This actually links perfectly to that study on immersive video learning we mentioned.
Right. The findings there were quite telling. Learners using video clips did better on speaking tests than those using only audio.
Why is that, do they think?
The theory is that combining sound and visuals mimics first language acquisition more closely. It helps with pronunciation, accuracy, intonation, fluency, the whole package.
Interesting. So video provides richer input.
Seems so. And the study noted it can be more cost-effective than, say, studying abroad while still offering some immersive benefits.
Okay, looking at newer trends, AI. The article mentions practicing learning English storytelling with AI. What's that about?
It's this emerging idea of using AI platforms like GPT-3, those kinds of tools to practice communication.
How would that work?
You could try writing short stories with AI prompts, maybe get instant feedback on your grammar or phrasing. The article suggests finding a platform, starting small, setting a routine.
And focusing on just enjoying the creative part.
Exactly. Less pressure, more experimentation. It's a new avenue opening up.
Interesting. And sometimes your native language isn't the enemy, right? Translation can be a tool.
It can be, yes. The article talks about using translation technique effectively, even enjoyably.
But strategically, I guess, not just word for word.
Right. Think paraphrasing, not just copy-pasting. Using native language subtitles sometimes when watching complex stuff, just to grasp the meaning initially. And practicing translating from your native language into English. That forces you to think about different structures and word choices. Pay attention to grammar differences as you do it.
So a tool, but use it wisely.
Precisely. Use translation software maybe as a starting point, but always review and refine.
Now, for learners who want more guidance, more structure, English Path courses are mentioned.
Naturally, the benefit there is that structured environment. Personalized learning, they say, mixing tech and human teachers, getting expert guidance and feedback.
They seem to have a wide range of courses.
Yeah, quite diverse. General English at different levels, including for younger learners and the 50-plus crowd. Higher education pathways, professional English for business or finance, exam prep for IELTS, Cambridge.
Corporate training, too. Looks like something for almost everyone.
And they offer a free general English test online, which is handy for figuring out your starting level.
Okay, finally, let's talk about something really important but often difficult. Language anxiety. That fear of speaking.
So common. And the source material on this clarifies it's not just general stage fright. It's specifically about speaking a non-native language.
And it can really hold people back, can it? Socially, professionally.
Absolutely. It can impact relationships, job opportunities, education. But the good news is there are strategies.
Like what? What does the advice suggest?
First, figuring out your triggers. What situations make you most nervous? Then, developing coping mechanisms. Maybe deep breathing, mindfulness techniques.
And practicing, right. But maybe starting small.
Exactly. Practice in easy situations first, then gradually tackle more challenging ones at your own pace. Getting support from friendly English speakers helps too.
And just using English in real life, even if it feels scary.
Yes, actively putting yourself out there. The article reminds us that mistakes are totally normal. It's the practice that builds the confidence over time.
Recognizing the symptoms, too, like physical tension or fear of judgment, and knowing that's common.
Right. Acknowledging it is the first step, and then working through it with self-compassion and just keeping going.
Okay, wow. We've covered a lot of ground here.
We certainly have.
So just to kind of wrap things up, learning English Effectively, it seems, is really about a combination of things.
Definitely multifaceted.
Creating that immersive world, actively working on all the skills listening, reading, writing, speaking through regular practice.
Understanding the grammar, working on pronunciation, trying to actually think in English.
Using technology smartly, maybe even AI. Using translation carefully.
Considering structured courses if that suits you, like those from English Path.
And, crucially, tackling that language anxiety head on.
It all works together. The best approach probably mixes and matches these elements based on what works for you.
Right. It's about finding that blend of consistent effort and methods you actually find, well, enjoyable and engaging. So maybe a final thought for everyone listening. As you think about all these different ways forward, what's one small, manageable step you could take, maybe even today, to dive a bit deeper into English immersion or practice? Just one small thing to get started or keep the momentum going.